Would you like me to continue, or would you like to walk away? It's about the history. I can tell you it's about the history of patents and their economic impact on countries. Just, it's honest. I know this is a lot of information. So, if you want to continue, you can stay. If you think, oh, it's enough, please feel free to do whatever you like. Nobody's going to leave? Okay, cool. So, the history of patents and the effect on nations. Well, patents have been around for a while. Actually, the first evidence of a sort of patent is in about 5,000 before Christ, where there were some monopolies on improved dishes. The first actual patent document is in Florence, 1421. This was a new and improved way to transport blocks of marble. In England, 1495, a Flemish man got a patent for colouring glass. Interestingly, 20 years. So this 20 years has been around for a while. And then the first patent law is from Venice, 1474. And there you see the red line. It's very difficult to read, but there it is stated that the invention should be new and inventive. So these themes that I've covered in this presentation are very old, 500–600 years old. Very interesting. So what's the effect on a nation? This is the fingerprint, I would say, from the last 250 years of filing in the Netherlands. And there you see the history. We have been occupied by French, we have been, well, Belgium separated, you see a huge effect, and it was a patent-free era. But if you look at the global line, it is actually growing every year with 2.5%. You see the number of patents on the vertical scale, they are in a logarithmic scale because else we can't cover it. And on the horizontal scale you see the time. If you then take this last 100 years in patents and you put them on the x-axis and on the y-axis you put a wealth indicator, in this case the gross domestic product of the Netherlands per inhabitant, then you see a positive correlation. Correlation is not a causalization. So there's no causality proven, only that there's a correlation. If you do the same for a country where this last invention was, this is the patent of the Wright brothers, which is indicated in red there, the US, then you see the same correlation pop up. Actually, if you look at all the influential countries in the world, you see, and I have to make the horizontal scale logarithmic because they vary too much, so the US is condensed. You see all countries have a positive correlation between the number of patents and their wealth in the country. Pretty fascinating. I've also some data from Uganda. This is what I could find. I only have the gross domestic product. I don't have it per capita because I didn't have any reliable data on the number of inhabitants. But also here, be it modest, you see a positive correlation between the number of patents and the wealth in the country, or at least the gross domestic product. So it appears that this patent system indeed has a positive effect on the development and wealth of a nation. Good to know. Then, this is fascinating. It's the white lines is the era wherein Holland has no patent system. Around mid-19th century, it was decided to abolish the patent system because it was thought to hinder technology and to hinder the economy. And if these data are from Gapminder. Gapminder is a website put up by Hans Rosling. I don't know if you know Hans Rosling. Very interesting speaker, TED speaker. Nice to look at. He had collected all his life data on countries, all kinds of countries. But if you see the orange line, then in 1869, Holland was leading in wealth compared to Belgium and Germany, or direct neighbors. And after this 43 years of patent-free era, we lost from leading in lagging. And we lost about 20 to 40% of our wealth development because we didn't have a patent system. You see, this data is quite complex because after 1914 you have the First World War, and you see what impact this First World War had on these countries. It's devastating. But here again you have an indicator that actually not having a patent system might be not so good idea. Interesting. Then I have some old data still, and I have to tell you about this inventor. This is a Dutchman who invented the way to saw wooden beams into, how would I say, planks on a more automated way. He found this patent 1593, long time ago, and it's very difficult to see, but there is a, how would I say, a frame with several saws, and there is a mechanism to automatically move the beam through this sawing. So if the miller had installed his installation, he could drink coffee and his machine would automatically saw wood. Just to give you an idea, this way of sawing wood was 20 times more efficient than the sawing wood with one person standing below, one on top, and the beam, and just sawing like some places in Uganda you still see people saw that way. So this is the reason that Holland became a really wealthy nation. We could suddenly build ships 20 times more quickly than before. And so we could, with this technology, build quicker ships than England. That's why Holland had its era of fortune. We were a while ruling on the seas because of this invention. Fascinating. This is his prototype, an old picture of this mill. But if you look at the number of patents in that time, you see, and that's nice, that from 1600 to 1700 there was a peak, but also a sharp decline in number of patents. And I have found some economical data of this time. They're not very reliable, but there's this institute that collects long data of economic prices. And most of the data are from old convent, how would I say, convent bookkeepings. They keep book on prices for masons, for the stuff they buy. What I did here is divide the prices of, in this case, soap by the salary of a mason. So in this case I use the mason as the standard. And then you can get a purchasing power. And if you look at the red line, you see that after the peak in patents, about 60 years later, you have a peak in wealth for buying soap. The same true for peat. That was generally the source of heat that time. What is wood here, or charcoal was peat in the Netherlands that time. And again for pepper. Each time between 55 and 60 years. So you can say a peak in wealth is followed, or a peak in patents is followed by a peak in wealth. And that's just another indicator that patents actually could contribute to the well-being of the people. Then this is another patent system. This is in England, steam engine, 1765. I found the purchasing power of bread similarly, and you see again there's some 60 years lacking between the number of rise in patents and the rise in wealth. So you see that there's actually sort of an indication that there's not only a correlation between wealth and patents, but also a causality. So it looks that patents are good for us. Just to give you an indication, why does it take so long? That's good to realize. That is because innovation by nature diffuses slowly, especially old innovation. And the speed of adoption is more or less relevant or relating to the number of people adopted the innovation times the number who has it. And this is a really funny graph. This is the number of windmills only in the Netherlands. So if you look at the Netherlands, first windmills reported were from 1200. Until 1911, the number of windmills was still going up. And you see a sort of a belly between roughly 1600 and 1800. Those are these wood sawing mills. Those were also windmills, but they were dedicated to sawing wood. And then in 1911 you see it collapse because of the diesel engine, steam engine, electrical engine. There were ways more efficient to use, I would say, mechanical action than by wind. And if you look at, what I wanted to say is that this time frame is around 700 years, not even to reach the maximum. It would have gone up more if these other technologies would not have killed the windmill. So this time frame is amazing. It's like, it would have been maybe 1,000 years before the full saturation was covered in windmills. It's really amazing. And if you see all the wars and everything, it's going upwards. So if you look at another invention, this little green line is the number of wind turbines now installed. And the funny thing is, you see the slope of these wind turbines is more or less the slope of where the older windmills stopped. I don't know if it's coincidence, but if you look at this man, this James Watt, and if you look at his face, he doesn't look very happy. And the reason he does not look very happy is total patent protection, where these arrows, during all his patents, only 0.1% of the total saturation of the market was reached in America, where I have this data from. So his patent was relatively, how would I say, worthless, because this technology development went so slow. And that's good to know. And then there's another invention, this is the first television. And actually this one of the most major contributors was this inventor, Mr. Zworykin, a Russian immigrant in the US. And he invented the cathode ray tube.